What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the Wager Alarm win totals for the NFL. My name's Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. If you've been following us here at wageralarm.com over the last few years, you know that Craig and I play in the Westgate Super Contest. You know that each year we go over NFL wins totals. So we're going to go in a multi-part series here, as we're going to give you a division a day, so that way you can move things around, and instead of getting one big, long, cumbersome video, you get one short one there. Before we begin, though, Craig, how are you, first of all? It's great to have you back. And now we've got an extra game this season, which is going to complicate things in our way a little bit more.
First of all, thanks for having me back. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to doing these once again as we close in on the college football season in a few weeks. And then, of course, the NFL season in about a month from now. And I think that you're absolutely right, Howard. That is the key. 17 games in the regular season this year. So no more 8-8s. That's, sort of like a very popular win total through the years. Lots of 8s, lots of 7.5s. You have to factor that in. Also, there's going to be more attrition this year. Teams that may not be in it could be potentially falling apart at the end of the season, which you don't normally see because they play till the end. And obviously, there are some very high win totals this year, especially the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of expectations on them to get close or repeat what they did last season. But you have to look at a lot of different factors going into this every year. And most importantly, Howard, what I try to do, I try to look at the teams and look at the stats that I felt were lucky from a year ago and try to flip those into the following year. Because to me, there are some stats in all sports that the luck factor is very heavily involved. And if I see a close game one way or the other, I try to go the other way. So we'll see what we have this year.
Very much looking forward to it. Also, we're still dealing with COVID, that being a situation here. And one of the things that's kind of rocking the NFL right now is the vax versus no vax mentality. Even Lamar Jackson, I was just seeing in today's news that Lamar Jackson is talking to the doctors. He's talking to the team officials. He is not yet vaccinated. He's just getting over COVID. So he does have the antibodies now in him. But, with everything that we're hearing here, how concerned are you with vaccinated and non-vaccinated players possibly pushing games off again?
Yeah, well, I think that part of it is what we went through a little bit last year. And, the one game, Howard, that does come to mind, and I remember how much discussion we had about it, was the Denver Broncos game, where they basically threw out that kid Kendall Hinton to play quarterback, and we saw what the disaster was there. So if an entire quarterback room is out, you know what the result of that is going to be. I would say I'm not as worried this year as I was last year, but there is no question that when you're considering betting win totals, a lot of what you're doing is betting quarterbacks. Let's be honest. I mean, that's what drives this league. That's what makes teams win and lose. And if you know that a quarterback is not vaccinated, well, certainly you have to factor that into the consideration that a player could potentially miss a game, and even with close contacts, miss a game. But for me, again, it comes down more of the team than anything else. What they did last year, what I think they can do this year, the talent that is around them, who they added, who they subtracted. And again, most importantly, there are just some numbers out there, I think, specifically turnovers to me, and turnover differential is something that's very big for me going into something like this.
All right. Well, then without further ado, let's dive right in. We're covering the AFC East tonight, and probably one of the biggest jumps that we saw last year, especially in win totals. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen made an incredible leap forward as the quarterback. What Stephon Diggs did for his passing game, absolutely fantastic. The Bills, one of the more dominant teams. What do you got for them this year?
Yeah, I think Buffalo's number is probably right about where it should be. I could see a little bit of a pullback from last season. And the one thing that I worry about with them just a little bit, Howard, is that McDermott, to me, is probably a top 5 coach in the NFL. Brian Daboll, the things that they do on offense. But at some point, I think they're going to have to pull a little bit back on Josh Allen's running. Now, I know from a fantasy perspective, that's a different conversation. But like Lamar Jackson in Baltimore And like Kyler Murray in Arizona, people don't really look at Allen as a running quarterback, but make no mistake about it, he is. Every time they get near the goal line, that guy is running. And over the last 2 years, he's been able to avoid virtually any injury, and he stayed on the field the entire time. So for me, this isn't one that I really like a lot. I think Buffalo probably in the end does win the division, but I could see them literally winning right around 10, 11 games. So don't really have a strong opinion on this one in terms of their strength of schedule, right down the middle, in terms of where they were last year with turnovers, also just kind of right down the middle too. And as far as any other advantages on the different sites, it seems like the number is about the same. So not very bullish on the over or under with Buffalo. I kind of think the number is fair.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I guess it's the pessimistic Jets fan in me that and the extra game that makes me want to lean towards Buffalo a little bit more, but their non-conference schedule isn't the greatest. And who knows? Maybe my Jets surprise somebody. Maybe New England surprises somebody. All right, so yeah, I saw it at FanDuel at 11.
Yeah.
With no particular lean over there for you. Miami, I'm looking at 9.5 now. New offensive coordinator. I just had a big debate with our good friend Adam Ronis, who says hi, by the way, Craig. We were talking about he's watching right now. We were talking about the development of Tua Tagovailoa. I didn't like what I saw out of him last year. I didn't see much game-to-game growth as it went on. I'm not fully blaming, or absolving the fact that there was no proper training camp, but he's learning a new offense this year. Yeah, they got him Will Fuller. Yeah, they gave him Jalen Waddle. Is that enough? 9.5 is the total here for Miami. What do you like?
Well, in a 17-game season, again, we'll just keep repeating this throughout so people understand. If the total is 9.5, what you're betting on FanDuel, then the Dolphins would need to win 10 games. I the last couple of years here on our streams have not been bullish on Miami, but I am a little bit more this year. I do think that they have added the proper weaponry for Tua to go, of course, with Parker. They now have Waddle. There's no question their offensive line is better. They'll have the same offensive line essentially that they had last year. Do they have great running backs? No, they do not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Gaskin and Ahmed are very good. But with a bet like this on the 9.5, I know that look, to say that Will Fuller is worth a win is ridiculous. But you look at the results when Will Fuller was hooking up with Deshaun Watson in Houston, and it goes without saying how valuable he was to that team and as valuable as he was to DeAndre Hopkins. But herein lies the problem. When we're doing the stream right now, Will Fuller has yet to even get on the field in a training camp scenario. Now, hopefully he will at some point, and he'll play in the preseason. But he's a crucial figure to open everything up. What's funny, Howard, is that everyone is saying that Jalen Waddle, he looks uncoverable and he's so fast. Well, guess what? Who else is fast on Miami outside of Jalen Waddle? They don't have anybody else that's fast. They need Will Fuller on the other side to go to those 3 wide receiver sets. I'm going to lean over on Miami this year, over 9.5.
Ooh, all right. Nice. Very bullish of you. Over on Miami. Let's go to the Jets. 6 is the total that I'm looking at right now. Obviously, this is not a year where we're thinking big plans for the Jets. There's a lot of a major learning curve. Robert Saleh's first time as a head coach. They're bringing a new offense there. They've got Zach Wilson, who needs to learn the NFL. There's a lot going on here with the Jets. 6 wins. To me, I got to be honest with you and tell you, I almost want to lean on the under here. I think the number is right where it probably should be. But, considering what the Jets were last year, I'm actually surprised at the difficulty with some of their schedule this season.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I don't see a path to the Jets winning 8 or 9 games. I just don't see it. It seems like they're starting over again. With the rookie quarterback and Zach Wilson. And look, I'm not going to buy into everything that everyone is saying in terms of reports. They obviously have not been good thus far with him. We'll have a chance to see him play a little bit in the preseason. But look, at this time last year, I didn't think very much of Justin Herbert. Turned out to be one of the best rookie quarterbacks in the NFL last season. And maybe that is the case with Wilson. To hear these crazy reports about maybe cutting Denzel Mims and adding to their wide, it's just wild to me. It almost feels, Howard, like they want to exercise anything that happened previously with the team with the new organization to the old. And that's a bad sign for this year, but it's a really good sign for the future because it just means they messed up so much that they have to make some changes there. Running game doesn't look great. Defense looks about average to me. That's probably the strong point, and it's about average. And by the way, in the division, I do think New England's going to be better, and I do think Miami's going to be better. So I would have to lean under on that 6.
All right, I'm right there with you. Last team in the AFC East is the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick and friends. 9 is the number that we're looking at here. Tell me what you think.
Well, this is where it's more of an important conversation as to how you bet as opposed to the team that you bet and maybe sometimes when you bet. Because right now, if you look at some of the shops right now, you're having to lay big juice on New England over 9 wins, and it's minus 140. Well, you may say to yourself, well, why? Why is this the case? Well, in 17 games, all New England would have to do is go 9-8. And I think that if there was any team that was not ready to go, it's crazy to say, at the start of last year, it was the Patriots. Like, they just did not look prepared for this whole transition from Tom Brady. You remember we thought at this time last year, Howard, we were talking about Jared Stidham. That's the truth. Going into training, that's who we thought. They bring
ironically just had back surgery.
They bring in Cam Newton, and Cam Newton looked okay until he went down with COVID or whatever it was, and he just didn't look the same the rest of the season. The Patriots are going to have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They are absolutely stacked. They added those 2 tight ends. Why? Because they want to run the ball and control the clock. They're trying to play old school football. And that doesn't win you championships, but I do think it gets you above 500. I will say this, that number looks about right. I think New England's got a shot to go 9-8, 10-7. I don't think there'll be a total bust of a team because it just doesn't happen with Bill Belichick. So maybe a slight lean on this 9, but what I would probably do is just bet even money or get plus money on 9.5 somewhere else. If DraftKings or somewhere else had it, that would be my opinion. I'm not laying minus 140 on the total.
No, I'm definitely not either. Nor am I going to put anything on a Belichick team, right? I mean, they like all of a sudden for the first time they kind of played paycheck football here with free agency, something that you don't see Kraft and Belichick do at all. So bringing in the tight ends, and now you got Cam and Mac Wilson, the potential of even a tandem QB situation,
right?
That's emerging there. Could frustrate enough teams that Belichick ends up with that extra edge, that extra win, that kind of screws you. So I'm with you. For me, it's a no bet over there. I think we both lean on the under on the Jets.
Yes.
Buffalo, you didn't like. Miami, you like the over.
Yeah.
Buffalo, I tilted towards the over. Miami, I just don't like.
Yeah, and one note for those of you who follow this, and if you look, some people think it means nothing. Sometimes it does factor in at least a little bit, but the team that plays the easiest schedule in the division is Miami this year. Their opponents, if you believe in this stuff from the year before, and I know the NFL changes from year to year, what's the variance? I don't know, 20, 30%? The strength of schedule for Miami is 47%, which is among the worst in the NFL, meaning the easiest for Miami, if those are things that you believe in. To get Miami to that point. So just thought I would bring that up here as we close that out.
I like it. Always great stuff. Listen, you can't ever have too much information as long as it's accurate and you can formulate your opinions on there. So there you go. That's going to do it for us here tonight on Wager Alarm. We'll be back tomorrow, actually, as we continue our run through AFC wins totals, the North, coming up next. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.